Hello again, everyone. So this is just an overview of the available software development models. So you can choose any of the models that I will be discussing kung ano yung i-apply ninyo in your capstone project. So this is also a sort of a review since dapat etong models na to, this has been already presented to you in your other major subjects. So as a review, yung SDLC natin or System Development Life Cycle is ito yung usual na phases. So first is requirement analysis. Ano yung required niyo? So you have to do interview, syempre para malaman nyo kung ano ba yung gagawin nyo na system. And then mag-design ka na. After designing, coding, i-implement mo na yung system mo. Tapos, you test the system is if working ba lahat ng features. And then, evolution if may changes ba sa system. So, out of the testing, baka may mga bugs na nakita. So, kailangan pa i-fix. At the same time, pwede ring i-update yung software na yun. So, as you can see with your softwares na na-install, di ba, sa inyong laptop or sa PC or sa cellphones ninyo, di ba, yung may mga update yung mga apps na yon. So, that's part of the evolution phase. Okay, so ito yung pinaka-basic phases of the development life cycle of a system. Siyempre, the first phase is the planning stage. Tapos, after planning, system analysis and requirements na. So, what do you do? Anong gagawin ng system? 'Di ba? Anong flow ng system? So, dito, you provide a flow chart, etc. And then, you design the system na kung ano yung mga features na required and then i-develop mo na yon, coding na. So after which, pag na-develop na talaga yung system na yon, you go to testing. Then, pag sa testing may mga problema na nakita, i-fix lang, tapos i-implement na lang. Okay? So, di pa doon nagtatapos yung system. Kasi nga pag na-develop mo na, na-install na, done na kaagad. No. So, meron tayong tinatawag na operations and maintenance. So, syempre, pag may problema sa system or nagka-problema sa input ng user, so, dapat ang system administrator nandun to fix the problem. So, dun siya papasok sa maintenance. Now, here are the types of popular SDLC models na available. So, we have here from yung arrangement nila is sequential, meaning yung steps or phases sunod-sunod talaga. Parang step by step talaga na you have to follow. And then we have evolutionary. So, pwede siyang pabalik ng phase if may nakita na problem. Tapos, pwedeng padagdag ng padagdag or increment. So, that's what we call evolutionary. So, dyan na belong yung iterative incremental model, spiral, the RUP, Scrum, XP, tsaka Kanban. Okay? So, from formal and informal din yung arrangement. Okay? So, itong mga Scrum, they are called informal na mga models. And then, yung pinaka-basic actually, hopefully na-discuss to sa inyo is the waterfall and the V model. So, ito siyang pinaka-basic, the waterfall. Pero at the same time, ito yung pinaka-expensive. So, we will discuss this one. Now, in the waterfall model, here are the stages. Through all of these development stages, from analysis, design, coding, testing, and deployment, the process moves in a cascade mode. Pasunod-sunod siya. So each stage has concrete deliverables and is strictly documented. So, meron kang documentation for each stage. And then, the next stage cannot start before the previous one is fully completed. So, you can't proceed with the design if you don't have or unfinished pa yung requirement analysis. So, dapat tapos na yung first stage before you proceed to the next stage. For example, software requirements cannot be re-evaluated further in development. There is also no ability to see and try software until the last development stage is finished, which results in high project risks and unpredictable project results. Testing is often rushed and errors are costly to fix. So, ito yung usual na ginagawa natin. Okay? gusto natin tapusin muna lahat, tapos i-fix na lang natin later kung ano yung problem. The waterfall model is usually used in simple, small, or mid-sized projects with clearly defined and unchanging requirements. So, let's say, for example, developing a company website. Okay? So, you can use the waterfall model. Projects with a need for stricter control, predictable budget, and timelines, example, government projects. So, apply nyo yung waterfall model since with the government, they want output for each stages. Next is projects that must adhere to multiple rules and regulations. So, such as healthcare projects, so you can use waterfall model. And then projects where a well-known technology stack and tools are used. So, pwedeng waterfall pa rin yung gamitin mo. Okay, so the next model is the V model, or the validation and verification model. The V model is another linear model with each stage having a corresponding testing activity. Such workflow organization implies exceptional quality control, but at the same time, it makes the V model one of the most expensive and time consuming models. Moreover, even though mistakes in requirements specifications, code, and architecture errors can be detected early, changes during development are expensive and difficult to implement. As in the waterfall case, all requirements are gathered at the start and cannot be changed. So, halos the same siya with the waterfall model. Now, you use the V model with projects where failures and downtimes are unacceptable. So, example, medical software, aviation fleet management software. So, the next model is the incremental and iterative model. So, in this model, the development process based on this is split into several iterations. So, parang Lego style or modular software design. Okay? So, new software models are added in each iteration with no or little change in earlier added modules. The development process can go either sequentially or in parallel. Parallel development adds to the speed of delivery, while many repeated cycles of sequential development can make the project long and costly. So dito, so you can actually deliver some parts of the project and then parang dagdagan mo na lang later. Okay? Yung features. So that's incremental and iterative model. So with iterative development software, changes on each iteration evolves and grows. As each iteration builds on the previous one, software design remains consistent. As software is delivered in parts, there is no need for a full specification from the project's start, and small changes to the requirements are possible in the course of development process. However, the requirements can't change radically. Major ones must be defined in the beginning, especially those for system design in case of incremental development, as further integration of the delivered software parts can become an issue. This SDLC model typically entails some customer involvement because of the possible need in small requirements amendments during the development process. So, you have to involve the user of the system. So, gamit ang iterative model usually pag sa large, mission-critical enterprise applications that preferably consist of loosely coupled parts such as microservices or web services. Here we have the spiral model. So, may four stages siya. The first one is the determination of the objectives, alternatives, and constraints, yung limitation. Next is risk analysis and alternatives evaluation. Tapos, development of deliverables and next iteration planning. So, ano pa yung changes na pwede lang gawin. So, this model puts focus on thorough risk assessment. Thus, to reap the benefits of the model to the fullest, you'll need to engage people with a strong background and risk evaluation. A typical spiral iteration lasts around 6 months and starts with 4 important activities: thorough planning, risk analysis, prototypes creation, and evaluation of the previously delivered part. Repeated spiral cycles seriously extend project timeframes. This is the model where intensive customer involvement appears. They can be involved in the exploration and review stages of each cycle. At the development stage, the customer's amendments are not okay. So dapat doon pa lang sa review and exploration, doon yung parang ilagay yung changes that the customer wants. But during the development stage, wala kang i-accept na any changes that the customer need in your system. Kasi dapat na-determine na yon before the development stage. So this model is usually used pag sa projects with unclear business needs or too ambitious or innovative requirements, parang masyadong maraming hinihingi na features. So you can apply spiral model. Projects that are large and complicated, and then R&D activity or the introduction of a new service or a product. Okay? Parang under research and development pa. So you may use spiral model. Next model is the rational unified process or the RUP. Okay? So here are its phases. So the RUP is also a combination of the linear tsaka iterative frameworks. The model divides the software development process into 4 phases: inception, elaboration, construction, and transition. So each phase but inception is usually done in several iterations. All basic activities, requirements, design, etc. of the development process are done in parallel across these 4 RUP phases, though with different intensity. So RUP helps to build stable and at the same time flexible solutions, but still, this model is not as quick and adaptable as the pure agile group, such as the yung Scrum, Kanban, and XP. The degree of customer involvement, documentation intensity, and iteration length may vary depending on the project needs. Okay, so ito naman yung RUP. Now, you usually use RUP sa large and high-risk projects, especially use case-based development and fast development of high-quality software. Now, we go to the Agile group. So, ito yung parang nagiging popular ngayon na ginagamit since parang cost-effective siya. Okay? Than the usual na models. So, the Agile is about working in collaboration or close collaboration both across the team and with the customer. So each agile iteration usually takes several weeks and delivers a complete working software version. Lacks detailed planning and openness to changes make it difficult to accurately estimate budget, time, and people required for the project. So yun yung parang disadvantage naman ng agile group. So yung subtypes of the agile is Scrum, Extreme Programming or XP, tsaka Kanban. So this is Scrum. This is probably the most popular agile model nowadays. The iterations or sprints, as it usually called, are usually 2 to 4 weeks long and they are preceded with thorough planning and previous sprint assessment. No changes are allowed after the sprint activities have been defined. So, eto siya parang you work some parts of the project tapos i-assess nyo na after 2 to 4 weeks tapos review nyo na. Tapos after nyan, pag na-determine na yung problems, anong yung changes, anong idagdag, work na naman ng or mag-sprint na naman, development na naman. After 2 to 4 weeks of development, assessment na naman. So paulit-ulit lang siya. So that is Scrum. And we have Extreme Programming or XP. So for XP naman, a typical iteration lasts 1 to 2 weeks. The model allows changes to be introduced even after the iterations launch if the team hasn't started to work with the relevant software piece yet. Such flexibility significantly complicates the delivery of quality software. To mitigate the problem, XP requires the use of pair programming, test-driven development, and test automation, continuous integration or CI, small releases, simple software design, and prescribes to follow the code standards. So this is how or what the extreme programming looks like. And then we have the Kanban. So for Kanban, its key distinguishing feature is the absence of pronounced iterations. If used, they are kept extremely short, parang daily sprints. Instead, the emphasis is placed on plan visualization. The team uses the Kanban board, like this one, that provides a clear representation of all project activities, their number, responsible persons, and progress. Such increased transparency helps to estimate the most urgent tasks more accurately. Also, the model has no separate planning stage, so a new change request can be introduced at any time. Communication with the customer is ongoing, and they can check the work results whenever they like. And the meetings with the project team can happen even daily. Due to its nature, the model is frequently used in projects on software support and evolution. So, parang from time to time, merong feedback about the progress of the system or the development of the system. So, summing the models in charts based on the research data. By the way, these estimations are under the small applications with code consisting of 1,000 functions. Okay? So, ang comparison is based on time, cost, and quality. So, in terms of cost, if you're going to use waterfall, masyadong mahal. Okay? And then, ang pinaka-tipid na model is the spiral. So, next is quality naman. So, masyadong maraming defects with the waterfall compared sa, sino ba yung lowest dito? The spiral. Okay? Kasi nga, as they go along with the system or the development, may assessment kasi. So, makita ka agad yung problem. So, unlike with the waterfall, kung kailan tapos na yung system na deliver na, dun pa mag-check ng mga problema. And then, TCO or total cost of ownership, syempre, in 5 years time, mas mahal yung waterfall compared sa other models. And then, yung mas tipid talaga is the spiral one. Okay? So, those are the models available. And then, you may use, kayo na mag-introduce nito dun sa methodology ninyo. Dun niyo ipasok to. Ano yung ba yung ginamit nyo na model in your development or software development ninyo? Nag-Scrum ba kayo? So, dun, ilagay niyo yung diagram ng Scrum and then for each stage, ano yung ginawa ninyo. Okay? So, kung gumamit kayo ng waterfall, although very old na siya, and then, as you can see, based on research data, yung quality niya is lower than the other models. You may also opt to spiral, although madaming stages yung spiral. Okay? So, pwedeng mag-scrum kayo. Ayan, spiral. Ayan. Ito yung i-follow ba ninyo. So, eto siya, each stage, yung sa methodology ninyo. So, sa each stage, dapat ilagay ninyo kung ano yung ginawa ninyo. Okay? So, mag-RUP ba kayo or mag-agile kayo? Okay? Scrum ba ang gamitin ninyo? Or XP ba? Okay? Or Kanban? So, that's just an overview of the software development models. So, make sure you include this one in your methodology. Ano yung pinili nyo or ginamit nyo na model in developing your system.